Leo was an ordinary kid. Not boring, just ordinary. He went to school. He sometimes forgot his homework, and he tripped over his own feet more times than he could count. Every single night, before he drifted off to sleep, Leo would look out his window at the countless stars scattered across the dark sky and whisper the same secret wish, "I wish I was special." One afternoon, something incredibly strange happened. Leo was walking home from school, kicking a loose pebble down the sidewalk, when he noticed something he'd never seen before. Tucked away in an empty alley between the bakery and the old bookstore, there was a small, glowing vending machine. It wasn't like any machine he knew. It hummed with a soft, gentle light, and there were no snacks or drinks inside, just a row of buttons, each with a single word etched onto it: speed, strength, flight, invisibility. Leo blinked, rubbing his eyes. This definitely wasn't here yesterday, he murmured to himself. Before he could even process what he was seeing, the machine spoke. Yes, you heard that right. It spoke. In a cheerful, friendly voice, it said, "You may borrow 1 power, but only for 1 day." Leo's eyes widened in disbelief. This had to be a dream, just 1 day, he asked. His voice barely a whisper. "1 day is enough," the machine replied, its light pulsing gently. Leo's heart hammered in his chest. This was his chance. The wish he'd made every single night was right here, in front of him. Without a second thought, his fingers shot out and pressed the button that read "Flight." Whoosh! An incredible sensation surged through him. Suddenly, his feet weren't on the ground anymore. He was floating, higher and higher. A huge laugh escaped his lips. "I'm flying," he shouted to the empty alley. He tilted forward and shot up into the sky like a rocket. He zoomed above the familiar rooftops of his town, waved at a flock of startled birds, and even managed to do a clumsy loop-the-loop in the air. This was, without a doubt, the best day of his entire life. He was soaring over the park, feeling the wind rush past his ears, when he heard a small, frightened cry from below. "Help!" Leo paused his flight, hovering in place, and looked down. There, near the very top of a tall, old oak tree, a little girl was clinging to a branch, her kite tangled just out of her reach. She looked terrified. Without hesitation, Leo angled himself downwards and flew carefully toward her. "Don't worry," he said with a reassuring smile he didn't even know he had. "I've got you." He gently untangled her kite and then, wrapping one arm securely around her, he carried her safely back down to the soft grass. The little girl's eyes were wide with wonder. "Wow," she breathed. "You're a superhero." As she ran off to her parents, pointing back at him, Leo felt something warm spread through his chest. It was a feeling even better than flying. Later that afternoon, as he was exploring the town from his new bird's-eye view, he saw a plume of dark smoke rising from a few blocks away. It wasn't a big fire, just some smoldering leaves in a backyard. But on the roof of the nearby house, a fluffy ginger cat was meowing in panic, trapped by the smoke. Once again, Leo flew to the rescue. He landed softly on the roof, scooped up the frightened cat, and delivered it into the arms of its grateful owner. There were more smiles, more thank yous. Each one made that warm feeling inside him grow stronger. He wasn't just flying for fun anymore. He was helping. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink, Leo started to feel tired, really tired. His movements in the air became slower, less graceful. He looked down at his hands and noticed that the faint glow surrounding them was starting to fade. "Oh no," he whispered, a knot of disappointment forming in his stomach. The power was ending. He managed a clumsy landing in a park just as the last sliver of light from his superpower disappeared completely. His feet felt heavy on the ground again. He was ordinary Leo once more. That night, after dinner, Leo walked back to the quiet alley. The vending machine was still there, humming softly in the twilight. "You did well," it said as he approached. Leo looked at the buttons, his heart full of the day's adventure. Can I borrow another power tomorrow?" he asked hopefully. The machine paused for a long moment. "No," it said, but its voice was gentle, not harsh. "But you learned something much better." Leo frowned in confusion. "I did." "What did I learn?" "Yes," the machine replied, its light seeming to glow a little brighter. "You didn't save people today because you could fly." Leo thought about the little girl in the tree and the cat on the roof. He thought about their scared faces and then their relieved smiles. "You saved them," the machine continued, "because you cared," and in that moment, Leo understood. The machine smiled and Leo smiled back. The next day, Leo went to school. He didn't fly there. He walked, but something had changed inside him. When he saw a friend struggling with the math problem, he sat down and helped them figure it out. When he saw a younger kid being teased in the schoolyard, he walked over and stood up for them. At lunchtime, he shared his favorite cookies with someone who had forgotten their lunch. There were no glowing lights, no soaring through the sky, but that warm feeling was back, just as strong as it was when he was flying. Standing there in the noisy hallway, Leo realized he wasn't looking at the stars at night and wishing to be special anymore. He didn't need to, because he finally knew the truth. You don't need superpowers to be a hero. Sometimes, all you really need is a good heart. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. See you next time.